All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you're from. Thank you so much for joining me again today, this Friday afternoon. My name's Todd Rains, and I'm in Allen, Texas. And yeah, I do this every 2 weeks, approximately. Sometimes I miss a day, but every 2 weeks you can find me here Friday afternoons at 2:30 Central Time, U.S. Coming to you live from my shop here, and providing hopefully some content that you like, keeping engaged with you most importantly. I do enjoy seeing all the people's names that I recognize week after week and year after year. So we are live streaming to YouTube, and the little duck there is StreamYard. Excuse me. And so a lot of you are on the StreamYard on air platform, which I think is working out really well. Hopefully you enjoy it. Give me some feedback if you'd like to see another destination. I didn't stream to Facebook. I sent out notifications for people to come over here. So we'll see how that works out. What we're going to do today is talk about honing, to hone or not to hone. Kind of a play on the Shakespeare quote. But I do hone, I sell hones, and I want to talk a little bit about them, about how I use them and why I use them. And hopefully you can chime in and tell us how you may use them, or if you don't, that's fine. It's not necessary, but you might find some information here that may change your mind. So first of all, let's. I just want to say hi to a few folks that have chimed in here. Thank you all for joining. Norbert from France, thanks very much. Good to have you here. I think I've seen you once before, so well done. Trevor from Ontario. Ian Coates in the UK. Good to see you again, Ian. Maybe perhaps we can meet up again some other time. Bruce from New Mexico. Ron from Kentucky. Charlie, thanks again for joining from across the pond, along with Ian out of the UK. Appreciate that. I'm going to skip down a few because there's quite a few here. I'm going to just pull out a few other ones. Tim from Grant, Alabama. Well done. I don't know Grant, Alabama. So, and our friend Cindy Drozda out of Erie, Colorado. Thank you, joining for joining, Cindy. Hello to you, and I'm sure Cindy is, or sorry, Shelley is saying hello as well. Glenn, local guy. Good to see you, Glenn. I hope you're doing well. And let's see. Let me scroll down. Our friend David Perez up in Oregon. Chilly and wet in Portland. Okay, we're getting up to 65, 70 degrees today, I think. So it'll be nice. It's a bit muggy, but nice. Let's see. Philip Greenwood from across the pond. Good to see you again here, Philip. Thank you for joining. Steve from Clyde, Texas. Thank you for joining. Let's see. My gosh, there's a lot. There's Michael McEwen from Victoria, BC. Let's see, Rob Santor. Good to have you here from New York. Oh my gosh, there's so many people here. Thank you all for joining. This is Scott Hampton from Visalia, California. Wow. Okay, let me just scroll down. There are so many people. Jim from Oregon. Good to have you here. No, Jim. There's just too many people here. I'm just going to scroll down. Lee Beatles. There's another Alabama boy. Good to have you here again, Lee. Let's see. I think we're at the bottom. Gerald Jensen, thank you for joining. All right, and Joaquin. Always good to see Joaquin here. Thanks for joining. Okay, so that's a lot of good saying hello and a lot of old friends and names and faces I know. So thank you all for joining. So let's kind of get on with what we're talking about. I got a few things to go through. So if anybody knows how to get a hold of me, you can do that. Check out the website. Give me a call, email. if you have any questions about these products or any other thing I carry or anything wood turning related, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to talk to folks about wood turning. Oops, wrong button, Todd. There we go. So I've announced this IRD that I'm doing on the 24th of February. 3 weeks almost. What's today? The 9th? God, it's only 2 weeks away. It's crazy. All right, so it's a ring box, and get myself out of the way here. You can kind of see it's a pivoting ring box and stuff like that. So I'll go through how to make one of those in this teaching demonstration. So check that out. Find out tickets on the Wood Turning Tool store and stuff. And I don't have a direct link for that, but it's up there. So that should be a lot of fun. Our friend Cindy is live every couple of weeks, kind of opposite of me. So that'll be fun. She's actually doing a demo. And hopefully I got this right, Cindy. Trinket box on Saturday the 17th, so next weekend. I think 1 p.m. Eastern. If I got that wrong, I don't know. Check out Cindy's website, cindydroza.com, and you can get tickets for that. So always a treat to see Cindy demonstrate, and of course I'll be there co-hosting. So I look forward to seeing you there. The next thing we have together is a sharing session following both of our demonstrations. So that sharing session will be Friday, March 1. And Cindy, I hope we got those dates right. So take all your questions from today, the next couple of weeks, whatever project you're working on, bring it to the sharing session. Show us what you've made. If you've attempted one of the projects we've made, show us that. Ask questions about what we did, how we did it, and what you've done and what you advice you might need. Those are always fun and interactive, free sharing sessions. So that I think is it. We're going to look at these hones. I put a bunch of slides up, but I think the better thing to do is just to kind of go and take a look at them. So I've got here a little piece of pine that we'll maybe kind of work with a little bit. And I'm just going to change that a little bit of exposure change. So I brought this out just to kind of use some tools and talk about the hones we're going to look at. So I wanted to kind of start. I've actually got a club demo coming up doing a project. And so I thought, why not kill two birds with one stone, right? Answer a bunch of questions, talk to folks about hones, and practice my project. So that's what we're going to do. This will be, and I lost, there we go, comments, there we go. So if you got questions, throw them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them, and we'll go from there and look at what you guys do with hones, what I do with hones, and we'll get on with the show. So I've got a little 3/8, not a little, but a 3/8 sort of a Badan. It's actually a Carter and Son Badan I've turned into a beading parting tool. I like these beading parting tools. For me, it's more useful than an actual Badan. So I'm just going to peel this down a little bit to show a little bit of what we do with the Badan. I may also use my skew to do it. This is sort of an Allen Lacer. It's actually an Allen Lacer skew. His name's right on there. And use that. We'll peel down as well, and we'll show a little bit how it cuts, and then what I may do to hone. And instead of going to the grinder and sharpening it, I just may want to hone quickly at the lathe. So safety glasses, Todd. All right, here we go. Got them. Thanks for the grinder. All right, let's go. Okay, so we've got the speed all the way down. Turn that down. Turn the speed on. Make sure everything's secure. Tailstock is secure. That's secure. We're good to go. I've got this just gripped in the square in the jaws of the chuck, and just got it between centers to kind of do some peeling. So simple push in, but also lifting the handle as you do so to kind of get that follow the curve into the middle of the radius with your tool. So there's a bit of a technique with using your skew. We'll come back and we'll clean it up across with a. I always get these mixed up: the planing cut versus the peeling cut. So what I did first was the peeling cut to peel the skin off, and then planing cut to cut it. So if this thing gets dull, and probably won't because I'm turning pine that's very easy to work with. And we'll zoom in a little bit there and kind of see we get a nice finish off it. But if I'm in the middle of a project and I'm looking to hone something, I will use, let me just a hone here. I'm just going to that one. I'm going to use this hone. This is my one that I have magneted to my lathe all the time. It's the continuous hone. Why they call it continuous, I'm not really sure. But it's just a steel bar. It's only got grit on one side. It's a 600 grit diamond. And one thing is I'll just use it to kind of freshen up the edge. Since this is a radius skew, I am pressing on the heel and then, and I'm trying to get the light right, and then rocking it to the tip. And I have to move that around the radius as I go. So it's pretty easy to manage these bevels with honing. And if we zoom in here, if I zoom in and get the light right, bear with me as I practice my focusing technique. So you can see the glint there. So it's a hollow ground tool. So all that middle part is not going to get touched by the hone, only the edge here and the edge up there. So you can see we got a bit of an edge started there. And so that side is sharpened. Flip it over. We'll do the other side. And this is a few strokes up and down. And that is sharpened on both bevels. I'm not finished there, right? I'm going to sharpen this side here or hone this edge. This is the one flat edge on this skew. A couple of strokes along that edge. Let me just leave this up here for now so it's handy. Along that edge makes me sharpen this edge and that edge. So these get sharpened as well. So now if I wanted to, say, clean up this end a bit, I can do that with, if I'm peeling down that edge, down that face, I can actually, if we put overhead in picture and zoom that in a little bit all the way, and that may not be, well, it looks all right. I'm just going to stop that for a second and just check that focus. Yeah, it looks all right. All right. We're gonna, we've just peeled down there, but I can use this edge now to kind of just scrape along that inside or that face as a bit of a negative rake scraper. I call it a negative rake because I've tilted the tool up a little bit and put the angle between this edge and that face of wood less than 90 degrees. So how well does it do on this pine? Probably not very well, but it gives you the idea of what you can do with scraping on a face. So that's one way. I'm going to fix this. Doesn't look quite focused for me. That might be a bit better. There we go. Had a little focus. So that works a treat for doing that kind of thing. Also, if you're undercutting box lids and stuff, same technique. And so we'll show a little bit of that with what I'm going to do next. We'll do some of the peeling with the Badan. I do the same treatment. Let's go turn that off. Switch back to there, and go down to this end of the turning. Maybe out just a bit. Same sort of peeling cut with the Badan can take place. But if we make a nice sort of square edge there at the pommel, it's not the best tool for doing pommels, but we can get a little bit there. I can also do the same thing in terms of honing. Hone the two faces or two edges or bevels. Like really is the right word. Get me over into the view here. And then the two sides as well for the same effect as the single side of the skew. And that gives me another, one edge there, but also 4 edges on the corners to kind of get into there and make that maybe a bit crisper. If I wanted to undercut it, let me put that in picture. I put the tool down, kind of angle it a bit, not straight on angle, and then tilt it up, and I've got a bit of a triangle or a diamond point tool to get into that corner and actually undercut that little pommel cut there. Not that I do pommel cuts this way, but it is an option. And if we look at this side, this area back in here, it's fairly smooth, and it is undercut. It's angled a little bit, and angle a little bit this way, not directly on. So a couple of things we've done there. Let me clean off the surface of this guy just to carry on with the project. I'll stop and we'll take a look at some questions or comments. All right, let's see. Cindy said yes, it's 1 p.m. Eastern on the 17th for her demo. Sharing session, I confirmed. Yeah, it's March 1. Good, we did get the right date. We did get the right date. Good, thanks. Let's see. I think we're all caught up. Let's see. John asks pro cons of lapping fluid. Oh yeah, so good question. I do have lapping fluid. Trend actually sells some lapping fluid. It's kind of in the back there. It's nice clear liquid that's good for lapping. So lapping fluid, what it's going to do is help you get rid of some of the slurry. It's going to create sort of a slurry on the stone. You can use spit if you want to spit on it. That does work. You could use water, although I would probably use it like a WD-40 as well. Maybe not rust the steel. This face won't rust, and this is coated with a nickel plating, but the ends of this tool might rust. So I don't use lapping fluid all the time because I do find it slows me down. Yeah, that's all. I'm here at the lathe. Just the reason I hone is to have a quick, sharp edge to do something quickly. So I don't use lapping fluid. I do all of this dry on these diamond stones. It's probably a bit more efficient with a lapping fluid, maybe. But certainly use if you use lapping fluid, keep doing it. As a woodworker as well, I would sharpen my planer blades, my chisels and stuff on stones, and obviously wet stones use water, oil stones use oil, but it's a fluid that helps kind of create a slurry and carry the metal filings away and get you a nice cleaner cut. So yeah, so Francis, I'm just kind of answering John's question, yours as well, lubricating fluid. If I'm doing a woodworking thing with a chisel or a planer blade, I would do that. If I'm at the lathe here, I'm just not going to use lapping fluid or lubrication fluid. I find I get a good enough result dry, but it's not to say you can't use it. Many people do, and I have in the past, and I have some. So if I'm doing something where I'm turning up a bunch of tools at once, I'll pull out the lapping fluid and use it. But otherwise, I just do it dry. So there's a couple other tools to use as well. The credit card sized one from DMT. It's got grit on just one side. The other side is not grit. By the way, all of these tools, you see the red label on the DMT here, the red handle on this one. This one doesn't have any color on it, the continuous one, but it comes in a package. The red is significant because it is the grit chart here. So DMT, they're made in the US, which is one thing why I like to carry the DMT products. The red there you can see says fine. Grit size 25 micron or 600 mesh. So this is about 600 grit diamond, embedded diamond. And so if there's, and that's all I've carried is the fine in the 5 products I carry. But if there's any need, if you guys have a need for the coarse or extra fine, let me know in the comments, and I may consider bringing in some other grits. But for the wood turning we do and the things I do, I've found that the fine is what I need. So, but let me know your thoughts on that. So, let's see. Paul's got a good question. Is there any difference if you hone in one direction only versus back and forth motion? So in a way, yes and no. Depends on the tool, at least in my experience. So if I'm honing this, by the way, I can use this hone as well to hone this tool. So same idea. I'll go back and forth because when I'm going this way, if I'm go one way, I'm forcing a burr up on that edge, curling over that way. But I'm going to hone the other side, so I'm going to take that burr away anyway. So I don't mind sharpening a double bevel tool going back and forth, right? A double bevel cutting tool, I should say, versus a scraping tool. So, and so I hone back and forth on this tool and the skew. If I'm doing a scraper, like a single bevel scraper, like this tool, this is a handled tool with a single bevel there, then I will probably scrape in one direction. So, or sorry, honed in one direction. So I'll take, and this is about a 70-degree. I get myself out of the way again because I'm maybe just do it right there. I will hone in one direction. I'll hone up around the edge like that, and what that's doing is turning a burr on that top side. So, and that's on a scraping tool. That's kind of what I want. So that is my understanding and my knowledge of scraping. So I will, or sorry, of honing. A scraper is to hone in the one direction. Whether I go straight up and down, I kind of skewing this and sliding it up as I go along, or if I go up in one spot, up in the other spot, I don't think it matters. I'm just still kind of getting, and if I look at that edge, you can see I've got the glinty part on the top edge, and on the bottom edge is still a hollow ground, so we're still hitting there. And I can feel a bit of a burr turned on that top side. It's not going to be a big one, not like off a grinder stone, but it's going to be enough to do what a scraper does best. So good question, whether you're honing back and forth or in one direction. That's the difference for me, cutting tools versus scraping tools. All right. The other thing I wanted to do is, let me, I've got a little gouge here. I'm just going to clean off this end here. And get as much of this cut away as I can. Pull that away, and we'll see if we can't clean up this end a little bit. Change there. We're doing, like I said, I'm kind of doing a little project. I'm just going to get a center point started. I'm going to drill this out as part of my practice for my demo coming up. So, okay, good questions coming in here. Thank you very much. Oh, well, that's a good question, Francis. I'm not really sure. How do you know if it's used up? So I will say that on a hone like this or other ones, you can see it's kind of getting filled with grit. So this is where I'll actually take some lapping fluid and clean it out with a little bit of, I might use, do I have one over here? I have a crepe block somewhere, which I don't know where it is, but that's sandpaper cleaner stuff. I'll rub that on there. An eraser works well. One of those rubber erasers kind of gets in there and cleans up the grit. So, but they're diamond. They're gonna. It's kind of like breaking in. Period. You'll get to a point where you will first get one of these. It'll be fairly aggressive. It'll eventually break down a little bit to where it's pretty much stabilized and going to keep honing. So I've used these for a couple of years, and they're still taking metal away. As long as it still takes metal away, it's good in my book. So the question is it any longer a 600 grit stone or hone? Maybe not. Maybe it's more like 800 grit, but it's still taking metal away. So good question. How do you hone a bowl gouge? All right. Well, good question. I'll get to it now. I was going to get to it in a bit. There's a couple other hones that we have, and so a bowl gouge with this kind of hone. And let me get small again, and let me get this out of the way. We could hone around the bevel. I typically don't hone a bowl gouge on the bevel. That is tricky to do. It's hard to do. And so I typically don't hone my bowl gouge on the outside with a flat stone because it's really kind of tricky to do. So it takes some patience. But what I will do is I'll hone the inside of the flute. So I'll take which is really a serrated knife hone. It's a cone shape from a very small, probably 1/16 diameter up to about a 1/4 inch diameter up here. And I will hone the inside of the flute where I'm putting pressure up on the wing here and the wing here. So I'll take the hone, I'll kind of force it up on the wing, keep it parallel with the flute, and hone the inside of that flute just to give me a little bit of an edge as I'm wanting to do a final cut or a final pass. The other thing to look at, if we look at this in overhead, and this is something that is Cindy does with her tools that she sells. And if I get the light right in there, you can see these Thompson tools are machined. This is a Thompson tool, by the way, machined, and they have sort of milling machine marks in the flute here, and so those are little ridges all the way along the flute, little up and down ridges. What you end up on the tip here is sort of a serrated knife. If you look magnified on this, it's got a serrated sort of edge. You may not want that, right? You may want to have something that's really smooth on the edge. And so one of the things Cindy does is not on all her tools, but on the tools she wants to, their finial gouge and stuff, she will hone that flute until all those serrations are flattened out. So they're polished. If we look at a Carter & Son gouge, this is a spindle gouge. It is polished flute all the way down. So all of that machining inside there is all nice and smooth. So that's one thing difference between some tools. You'll see milling marks in the flute, and some other tools you won't. So that's something to watch for. So, but otherwise, honing a bowl gouge or spindle gouge for me is using a conical hone or something like that. So this is the other one I carry. This is it's called the Slider Sharp by DMT, and it's a 2-in-1. So there's a little. I'll go a bit further because I'm not really seeing the whole thing here. It's a pocket size 2-in-1. So you got a cone hone on this side that slides out, and so that will do all of my flutes or ring tools or hook tools, those kind of things. And I didn't bring the hook tool out. It's funny. Or a flat that slides out on the other side. So there's the cone on one side and the flat on the other side. So now I can do all of my bedans and skews and things like that. What I like about this is pocketable, portable. I can take this and put it in my, well, that's not going to show it either, but put it in my pocket. And when I'm demonstrating or teaching or at a club event, I've got all the hones I need in one pocket-sized device. So yeah, that's good questions there. Hopefully I answered that. Let me get on the next one. Let's see. Bowl gouge done. All right, I think I caught up. So everybody's saying hi to everybody. Thanks very much. Ed, good to see you here. I see you chatting with Shelley. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. I saw you on the Denton Club meeting the other night. Well done. I wanted to drill this out, so let me do that with that one. Got a Jacob's chuck and the tailstock. And I'll show another thing that I do. I'm going to use a Forstner bit, right, to hollow most of this out. I love this red-handled one. This little, it's a 2.5-inch mini hone is what this one's called. That is, oops, this one, not that one. This one. And it's inexpensive. I think it's about $11 or something like that. I don't have a price on this one. So, but this one does a great job. Sorry, I was flipping cameras. Of getting router bits or Forstner bits, even router bits sharpened up. So, Forstner bit or a sawtooth bit, as this one is. It's got sawtooth pattern on top. The place you hone is in that flat there on one side, and then the flat on the other side. So, this guy is nice and thin that it fits in that profile down in there. So, and has a nice handle that you're not jamming your fingers on the end of this guy here. So, if I just hone that guy, I'll take a few strokes along that face. And it's kind of hard to do this while I'm showing on camera. There, flip it over, and do the other one. The reason you hone here, and you want to do even strokes on even side, is that is going to sharpen up this edge here and the edge on the other side. You don't want to hone here on top because you'll end up making one side less than the other, and that tends to make your drill wander a little bit. Not so bad with Forstner bits this size, but smaller ones will certainly wander. And so you'll end up seeing all the cutting action coming off one flute more than the other. So that is one of the other shop tools that I sharpen with their hone. It's very hard to sharpen them otherwise. So I've had these Forstner bits for probably 25 years now, and still using them today. Not the greatest quality ones. They're just the Home Depot brand or Vermont American or whatever they were back then. Turn my speed down, lathe on, and a little bit more speed, 600-700 RPM. Lock the tailstock down. When I drill, I get it started like that, kind of let it sit and just ever so gently let it wander and seat itself. Feel that it's not wobbling or anything. And then I hold the chuck not around the gears, but around back here in case it does spin on me. I'm not going to be hurting anything. As long as chips are coming out, I'm okay to keep going. Not that that's much of a... Did that stop? Why did that stop? Oh, there we go. Wrong way. That's probably building up heat, leaving that there. Holding this part and pushing back on it or pulling back on it as I retract. What I don't want is this Morse taper coming loose and this whole chuck being loose. So always hold on to your quill as you're retracting it. There's been some talk in our last sharing session with Cindy that one of the things that she did after watching Lyle's demonstration is drill a hole right through the quill here into the tapered device and sticking a safety pin or a nail, or not a safety pin, but a pin that's for safety, into to keep the Morse taper in the tool without having to, within the quill, without having to hold on to it. So you'd end up with a hole through here that would go to a corresponding hole in your Morse taper device. So that's one way to kind of ensure that you don't have a tool or a drill bit fall out or a Morse taper device fall out of this hole, is secure it somehow. I don't know that I'll do that myself at this point. I've been pretty persistent on holding that and making sure that it comes out. All right, so we've got a hole filled with chips. It's about 2.5 inches deep, be my guess. We're going to make a nice thin tube here, and we'll see why sometimes honing helps you in your what you need to do. I need this guy. I've got a cone here. That's going to work. I think that'll work. So I've got to get an aluminum cone for my one-way live center. Or not my one-way, my robust live center. Gee, I wonder where I can get that. I don't know. I got some in the house. I gotta maybe just have Shelly look the other way and pull one from stock. So there's a cone center you can get for the robust. It's got the little 60-degree pointy cone, as well as the big sort of 4-inch reversing cone and or larger cone. So those are there. That's what I was talking about. All right. Will you be showing the honing for the hook tool? Yes. Let's do that. Let me just reach behind the magic curtain here and pull out the hook tool. So thank you, Michael, for asking. It is one of the last hones I'm going to talk about. There's and I'll show them all here in a minute here. So here is let me get that off the screen. Here is the hook tool. Right, this is the Michael Hoslock hook tool. It's got a bevel on the outside and a sort of a flat or a face on the inside. All the work is done with this bevel here on the outside. So I do not try and change the shape of this bevel because it's consistently same bevel all the way around the side. It helps, at least in my work that I do, helps to keep that consistent. So I've got a 1/4 inch. This is about a 6-inch long, 1/4 inch diameter half round hone. So the profile is a half round, and it's got the same 600 grit on the round part as well as on the flat. So this is grit all the way around, except for the last half inch here down here where the handle typically is. So it's typically a handled product from DMT, but I get them unhandled. That's the way Michael had them set up and ordered. You can see inside this hook tool, if I zoom that in a little bit, you can see this tool is cast. It's a cast D2 steel. But down there you can see the glinty areas that have been honed, that side and that side. So it's really the cutting bevel side that really matters. So this honing happens inside the flute like that, up and down, and turning around that radius. And this 1/4 inch fits in that area just so nicely to get around the whole perimeter of that hook tool. So this is how I hone the hook tool. If I'm on the road and I don't have one of these, I will typically have this guy with me. This guy, so I can pull out the cone side and do the same thing. So this is a versatile one where you can do both a hook tool inside of a gouge, that kind of stuff with this tool. So that is that one. And it would be the same if you had the serrated knife cone hone as well. So the same sort of cone on there, on those two. There we go. All right. So I'm not going to use the hook tool today, Michael, but good question. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it so much. So that is the complete lineup of hones. Let me just gather them up, I think. And this one. So we have, and by the way, I have this guy. I like this guy on my lathe all the time. He's got a magnet that sticks to the lathe that he sticks to. So this one and the quarter round stick on that magnet in the lathe. So the 4-inch continuous, the 1/4-inch half round. There's the threaded knife hone. There's the credit card hone. There's the mini hone. And then there's the dual slider, the slider sharp hone. So those are the ones that I carry. And then they're all the red colors. So you see this is red color. This is red color. This is red color. This is red color. And then these don't have colors, but they're the fine grit to the red color fine grit. So I find that 600 grit hone is exactly what I need for what I do at the lathe. And as I said, if there's other grits that you guys want me to look at and possibly carry, let me know. Absolutely. Good. So let's get that Badan out again and show you how I work this tool with this kind of project. So tailstock's locked down. I've got it between centers now, and we're there. Get me a bit more speed. And let's see, what does this one look like? That doesn't really show anything. That one will show a little bit. All right, so peeling cut, basically. And I'm going to have to do a full width peeling cut. Otherwise, I'm going to hit the cone, the tailstock cone. When I've finished peeling, I'll change it to a negative rake scraper, which is really changing the angle of the tool with a bevel rubbing cut or peel down into a pure scrape, holding the tool more horizontal. So this tool is a cutting tool as well as a scraping tool. We do one other out here. So if we were to pretend that this junction was our box lid right there, and I wanted to undercut that lid, I would do the same thing I did on this pommel cut back here. Let me just square that up a little bit. I've honed this guy on the sides. I've got sharp edges here, 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 and here, as well as the front bevel. Well, you can't see that, can you? So I've got sharp bevel on the bevel, sharp edge on the bevel, and then on these 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I can use that sharp edge. If I move the tool off perpendicular and tilt it up, my profile there in the main camera is more diamond shaped, so I can get into that corner and peel with this side scraper here in a negative rake fashion. And I can point it undercut, so the lid is undercut. So now we've got a nice undercut rim there, and I'm going to try and bear with me as I zoom that in. And that's not what I wanted to do, Todd. We'll just leave it there and take a quick look and see how that looks. So it's not a bad cut. It's now undercut. And so you can do your box lids like that with that tool that's honed and stuff to get a nice sharp edge. What I'm trying to do here is make a very skinny, thin-walled tube, which I do for my demos. So there is trying to get to 1 1/4 inch outside diameter. We've got 1 1 1/8 on the inside. 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch minus 1 1/8 is 1/8 of an inch difference. Split that in half, you got a 16th inch wall thickness on either side of this tube. So I got a bit more to go on this guy, and we'll bring this back up to gently snug that up. I don't want to put too much pressure here. It's going to blow apart. Little negative rake scraping. To thin this down a little bit more so we're at the right diameter, the right wall thickness. I am much higher over here, I can see. Trying to make that parallel. One of the things that helps is having this tool rest parallel with the bedways, which it's pretty darn parallel. And that way my tool can be perpendicular. I can judge that perpendicular just by eye. So, all right, we have a little gauge here. Oh, look at that. That goes on nice. So, bring this up gently. Let me lock that down and just roll the hand wheel over. And we're just going to leave that on there and carry on. So, peeling cut. If we look at the low handle of the tool, peel, 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 go back and scrape. And then see how that fits down there. All right, so now what I didn't do before, what I got to do now is just figure out how deep are we. Ruler, we are 2 3/8. 2 3/8. I have to move that down for a minute. Is right about there. Oh, the pencil is over here. 2 3/8. That's the bottom of our hole. All right, so let's just finish this tube out to that end. And we'll, oops, oh boy. That slid too quickly. I almost cracked that sucker. Huh, well, it would not be good. All right, hey, you know, I got to take a minute here. I got to say something as well. So I have a visitor in the shop this week. He arrived Wednesday. It's my brother Tim. I haven't seen him for probably 6, 7 years, maybe, I guess. Anyway, he lives in Calgary, where we kind of grew up, and he decided on I don't know, whatever, you know, how he got this thought in his head, but he flew down to San Diego with his bicycle. It's a 30-speed touring bike of some sort, loaded with about 60 pounds or 80 pounds of gear on his bike, and bikes from San Diego to Dallas. 1,550 miles he biked over the last 35 days. And I think he left January 4th and got here, like I said, Wednesday, the 5th or whatever, the 6th, whatever it was. So, you know, I just got to shout out to Tim to say, you're crazy, man. I don't know. So I know there's a few people out there, Cindy being one of them, that is certainly you know, envious of what he's done. I'm not, you know. So if you're into that kind of stuff, it's great. He's found a great community of, I don't know what it's called, some association of bikers, I guess, or bicyclists, and met a phenomenal bunch of people along the road. You know, he stopped every, you know, did 40-mile legs, 30-mile legs, 40, 50, 60. I think one day he did 96 miles in a day, and went through rainstorms and snow, freezing weather. Why he did it this time of year, I don't know. I think it's probably better than July. So anyway, so shout out to Tim. Shout out to Tim for doing that. I can hear him laughing inside. So he's here for the next couple of days. He's heading back Monday. But yeah, anyway, so if there's somebody out there crazy enough to do that kind of stuff, you know, say, you know, shout out to Tim for you. So, all right, Tim, thanks very much for coming. Appreciate it. All right, let's finish this off. And we'll see if we get any crazy comments about a bike ride across the country. Let's see. Lance, what is you? Let's see. Why did you want an aluminum cone versus green rubber chucky? So here's a good question. So yeah, one of the things I've found is, let me get small here, is when my tool runs into the rubber chucky, it's actually a bit grabby. I have a better luck running into aluminum with my tool than this silicon rubber. So if I show by example, I run into this. It's just kind of, it's bouncy, and sometimes it grabs and spins off on you. I would honestly rather run into aluminum than this stuff sometimes. So that's just my mileage, what I like to prefer. But this works in a pinch. Rubber Chucky is a great product. I use it on a lot of stuff, and it's working well here. I managed to do fine doing that way. So, but good question, Lance. I appreciate you coming. There's that line. Let's do. Okay. Howdy from the west coast of Arizona. Maybe Ward, maybe Tim passed you on the way. Who knows? So, all right, here we go. Peeling cuts. Whoops, that was up there already. One last peeling cut at the line, and into scraping cuts. And those of the, you know me, might know what project I'm working on. But otherwise, I didn't put the gauge back up there. Let me put that on there. See, we're a little tight right at the end there. Just a very snug, just a light snug fit up there. Yeah, that's where I need to go with this guy. So here we are at our box top. We're going to do the same thing. Perpendicular, off perpendicular, twist it up one side. Use that side of the bevel of the bedan. Undercut this lid. And make a nice smooth finish. And that fits all the way up. Now we got a nice seam finish along our box lid. So what we can do from here is part that off. Let me do a bit of sanding first. Won't sand a whole lot. This is really just a practice piece, but let's I'm going to start with 240 because this is pine. It's going to sand really super easy. And a little dust collection noise. Sorry about that, but turn that down, speed down a little bit. I do have some sanding jigs that I normally use to get inside there, but for a practice piece, I'm not going to worry about it too much. And do a little bit of sanding with the grain just to finish it off. So now we have a tube with 1 inch, 1/16 inch wall thickness there, and we can now get our parting tool, which I will say is one of the more difficult ones to hone, but if we do it, I do the sides as well. You can see I've been honing the side of this tool. And here. And then up this one nose. It's hard to get this sort of on the right spot. You can kind of feel where it is and just do some gentle honing. Look at the tip. I'm a little bit off. And close enough. But yeah, so you can do a little bit of honing there on that guy as well. So we'll make a lid, I don't know, about that big. what I'll do is down this part. Now that I have it kind of down to where I want it, I've honed this edge. I'm hoping this edge is a bit sharper, so I get a little bit cleaner cut. It's never going to be clean, but I like to try and get as clean as I cut as I can. So I'll run that edge. Yeah, pretty rough surface, but we got a little bit of clean cutting on the outside, but not bad. So that'll obviously get reversed and cleaned up on that side, and we got about a 1/2 inch of thickness in the bottom there. So that is the start of a box, piston box, if you will. So that is where we're at. So let me take a look at the chat and look at the time. Oh, so goes my sandpaper. Dust all over everything. And all right, John is asking what type of pine. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. It's not 2x4. It's lumber material that's been milled. This is I use pine in a lot of demos because one problem with it is the color. It's so blonde on camera that doesn't really show a lot of character or grain. But it's easy to turn and quick to sand. And so from a demo perspective, it works fairly well. And it's cheap enough that I can get a whole bunch. So I typically buy a stick of, probably 8/4, maybe 10/4 pine from the lumberyard, whatever with thickness or length. But get blanks out of it that are, 1.5 to 2 inches thick. So 8/4 would work. And then make these little boxes out of them. So you could try 2x4 material, but I don't think it's going to be quite the same. This is a bit more friendly. Beyond that, let me just thank everybody again. And there you go. Cindy says, great writing, Tim. Impressive. Yes, definitely. One last blast here, if I can get back to it. There we go. Took me a while. My ring box demo is on the 24th. Look for your email if you got one. Most people here probably should have. If you don't subscribe to my newsletter, please do. I send out information about these live streams, these demos you see on the screen behind me, as well as other events from Cindy and Lyle, and as well as obviously specials for that. Look in that email, because what you'll find is a 10% off coupon in the emails that I sent out for all the DMT products we saw today. So you can get any one of these hones, the 5 or 6 different types I have, and use that 10% coupon. If you have any problems with that coupon or anything like that, please email me or call me, and I'll certainly help you out. But check this one out in a couple of weeks. Cindy's demo on the, I gotta find it here, bear with me, trinket box, Saturday, February 17th. So that'll be fun. Go to her website, cindydrozo.com. I think she'll have the sign up fairly soon, right, Cindy? So I know it's a hard thing to get done, but life gets in the way, business gets in the way sometimes. And then be sure to check our free sharing session we're going to have following that on March 1. So look forward to getting together with you folks again, either here in 2 weeks or at Cindy's demo or my demo in the coming weeks. So with that, I think myself and Cindy, we're going to say goodbye, good afternoon. Everybody, excuse me. a little pine dust in the air. Everybody have a great weekend. Hopefully the weather holds for you, and everybody's able to enjoy it. So get in your shops, get busy, and then be kind to everybody. We'll see y'all. Bye for now.